shake a tail fin. I'm only taking a ride. Lured in by your bucket of chum. It's one weakness I can't hide. Take me to your bucket of chum.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Captain Steve. This week, we're talking about Alien Shark from 2022, directed by Paul Tamburello. That is a fun name, Tamburello. Anyways, I saw another podcast do this movie not too long ago. I couldn't find the post, so I could not find out which podcast it was, so I apologize if you're listening and you know this was you. I will leave a link once I figure that out, if I figure it out in the description. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But another podcast did this movie, and I saw a clip from it, and it made me kind of want to move it up on the list. Obviously, it's on the list. All shark movies are, for the most part. But I moved this one up a little bit closer because it looked kind of intriguing. So I was like, yeah, let's check this out. I don't want to say too much about it just yet. I want to save it for most of the end and when we get into the plot breakdown. So to start us off, I'm going to get into the plot synopsis right off of Letterboxd. When Alicia's friends throw her military deployment party on an island, a meteor crashes into the dunes and a massive alien shark targets the beach. Now Alicia must fight back to save them and the planet from this predator beyond the stars. There wasn't an average rating for this on Letterboxd. I don't know if it's because it just doesn't have enough reviews. Maybe the app was glitching when I looked at it. When I did look through the reviews, I kind of guessed the average to be around 1.5 to 2 stars, maybe a little bit lower. Definitely not any higher than that, just from reading the reviews that I saw on Letterboxd. So we're going to go with that. And as I mentioned, thank you so much to the other podcast for moving this up on my list. Yeah. Let's get into the poster expectations. The poster has a bikini-clad lady holding a crossbow in front of a giant shark with glowing green eyes. It looks like a very poorly composited poster. Kind of reminds me of something you might see from like Sci-Fi or Polonia Brothers. So I don't really know what kind of quality to expect. Like, am I expecting Sci-Fi Channel quality or Polonia Brothers quality? Because those are two very different things. So honestly, I have no idea what to expect going into this movie. Even from the clip that I saw, it didn't really give me a good idea of what the movie would feel and look like as a whole. But that being said, there's nothing else left to do other than to make sure I don't get space AIDS, and let's dive in. Right off the bat, we start off in outer space with this meteor in the Earth's atmosphere burning up. It is truly terrible. But then we cut down to a beach and we have like two bikini or like bathing suit clad chicks, babes, running down the beach. So it kind of makes up for the shitty CGI so far. They come across a green glowing rock like it's fucking kryptonite, and one of them picks it up because she's compelled to, as she says, and when she does, she goes into a trance and then just heads into the water. The other girl calls her name, but she doesn't respond, so she starts walking out after her, and as they stand in the water, the girl who is holding the rock just suddenly disappears, like she just fucking drops, and then the other girl starts running, and then she is pulled under. We don't see anything, haven't seen a goddamn thing yet, we just see her getting pulled under, or both of these girls getting pulled under the water. Then we meet Alicia, our military hero, and she talks to her sergeant on the phone and thanks him for the leave. And then we just see stock footage of a helicopter while this is happening, and we just hear this sergeant's voice. And it is like one of the weirdest, douchiest, like military... It's like really bad military acting is what it sounds like. So, Sergeant, how was your vacation? That's good. It's just so bad. And also, I don't know why we needed this. We didn't need this. There was absolutely no reason for this other than some exposition as to like, oh yeah, she's on leave. But we get that later on anyways. So again, completely fucking unnecessary. We're not off to a good start here, guys. I mean, we had a couple bikini babes, so okay, that's not too bad. I'll let that slide for now. She takes a ferry and meets her friend Jessica, who seems like an influencer, and she's like shoving the phone in Alicia's face, like, oh, let's take pictures and videos. So dumb. very irritating. But they just give each other a big hug, so they're clearly best friends, and they talk about how much they miss each other, and then they start heading towards the beach house. And then right before they get there, we get a quick scene of some dude wearing headphones, and then some weird signal starts playing through his headphones, and it hurts his ears. And then we see an alien craft above the earth before we go back to Jessica and Alicia. This does come back into play a little bit later, so it's not complete nonsense per se. They arrive at the beach house and they meet their friend Megan and do like the hugging thing. And then their other friend Debbie comes out to greet them. And she is annoying right off the fucking bat. She talks about, oh, we're going to get, like, I'm going to rent a masseuse or a DJ masseuse. Ah, it's going to be the craziest week ever. Ah, fuck off, Debbie. Just you insufferable bitch. Like, this is the first time we meet her in this movie, and I'm already done with her. Like, I'm just done with Debbie. Alicia tells Jessica it's weird Debbie invited her ex-boyfriend, but Jessica is like, well, he's a good guy, and they broke up on good terms, and blah, blah, blah. And we also learn that Debbie rented this place. Well, her dad rented this place, for the week. And Alicia then reveals that she's only there for 4 days. That's all the leave she could get. So they're all disappointed, but they're like, yeah, fuck it, let's party for 4 days. Whatever. Then 2 dudes show up, which is why Alicia is mad that Debbie invited her ex-boyfriend. Basically, Debbie said, like, oh, well, he looked sad, so I just invited him. Debbie's awful. I hate Debbie so much. God damn. And then Jessica, as they're talking about this with Alicia, Jessica is like, oh, well, I think you like Pete. And she's like, what? No. She totally likes Pete. Like, it's weird. I don't understand. Like, this is your friend's ex-boyfriend. Granted, it's Debbie. Debbie's kind of a bitch anyways. But still. I'm also 100% sure these 2 boys that show up were hitting on Alicia when she was sitting in her Jeep waiting for the ferry to show up. But they made no sort of reference like they knew each other, because these 2 dudes just come up to her and say like, hey, Private, I'm ready to take orders. What time does the ferry leave at? And then they just go back and forth for 2 seconds, and then the guys leave. So it's weird that she didn't mention that before. And would she not think like, oh, if these 2 are here, maybe we're going to the same place? I don't know. It's fucking stupid, man. It's just so dumb. After all that, out on the water, there's someone in a kayak. It's tipped over into the water. And, like, right before that, we get a very quick shot of the shark, but not really much. I can't remember if this was one of the CGI shots. I don't think so. I think this may have been, like, stock footage that they used. Anyways, that's all they did. The guy was in the kayak, it tipped over, and that's the scene. With no blood, no attack, like fucking nothing. It just looked like this guy fell out of his fucking kayak. And they're like, hey, let's put this in a fucking movie. It's so funny this guy fell out of a kayak. Anyways, we go back to the house, and Nate is getting drinks ready, but Pete is like, oh, it's not even noon yet. But Nate is like, we're on vacation, let's get fucked up. And, you know, it kind of makes sense. It's vacation, day drink, it's fine. They cheers to Alicia for this being her last hurrah before being deployed to, I guess, a foreign country or whatever. And then I think it's the next day, but it's really unclear. But the girls wake up and the boys who are on the couch head off to the beach. Did they have fun that day? Is this the same day? I don't know. The days are very confusing in this movie sometimes. The way that it's cut, I don't think we ever see night, come to think of it. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's many night scenes in this movie, which kind of explains a few things. Yeah, I don't know. It's so stupid. As they go outside, Pete and Alicia have some awkward moment, and then Debbie takes her top off with she's got a bikini underneath it, and then she throws it at Pete and says, "Too many clothes for the beach," and then she goes running off. Jesus fucking Christ, Debbie. Debbie is just awful. She's just awful. But anyways, Alicia then says that she's going to go get changed, and Pete's like, oh, I'll wait for you. So these 2 definitely want to fuck. Like, these 2 should just go ahead and fuck. But then eventually we get the rest of the girls in their bikinis and bathing suits. So Debbie's insufferable behavior is fine for now. And she looks good in a bikini. I will give her that. It's just her awful personality that's just a total fucking turnoff for me. But anyways, then we get a quick shot of the ship in space shooting a green beam down to Earth. And then we see like some cell phones are not working and whatnot. Apparently nobody else can see this green beam. Whenever this shows up in the movie, I think it shows up a couple times, nobody sees it. Again, I don't know if this is for the audience. Like, hey, audience, this is a thing that's happening, but our people can't see it. But I don't know. They didn't make that fucking clear to me, so I have no fucking idea. Alicia returns from getting changed, and Pete asks her, oh, are you really, like, a military person? Blah, blah, blah. Was your dad in the military? And she's like, oh, the only way a woman can get in the military is if her father was already in there? No. He was just asking. He's trying to get to know you. You don't have to be a fucking bitch about it, man. I mean, Pete's kind of stupid, too, for coming here because his ex-girlfriend invited him. You know what? You're both fucking stupid. You're perfect for each other. Yeah. Good job. Then they just talk about their backgrounds and just a whole bunch of other shit I don't care about, and I'm not going to repeat it back to you guys. Then Pete doesn't ask. Alicia tells Pete to attack her, so I guess she can show off her military moves to him because he wasn't fully believing it. We'll go with that. So they wrestle for like 2 seconds, and then she puts him in like a chokehold, and he taps out, so he's done. So yeah, we get it, Alicia. You're a military person. You're a badass. Great. And then Debbie comes in all bitchy, and she's like, well, guys, shall we? And with a disgusted look, and then just walks out. Ugh, get fucked, Debbie. And then on a dock, we see a fisherman struggling to reel in a fish, but it gets away from him. So he goes to leave, and then his nose starts bleeding, and then his eyes glow green for a second, and then he just goes off the edge of the dock into the water. That's it. That's all that happens there. So we go to our heroes who are on some other docks. They go to a boat, but the boat isn't seaworthy yet. And the guy and his girlfriend who are working on it, or maybe they drive the boat. Again, not fully fucking explained to me. Maybe they're the marina owners. That could be it too. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. All we know is that Debbie's dad fucking bought or rented this boat from some guy who used to work at Coca-Cola. Why does that fucking matter? It doesn't. Along with everything else I've seen so far, nothing fucking matters. This especially doesn't fucking matter. Like, who the fuck cares? So after they're done not going on the boat, I feel like this could have been a phone call. This didn't need to be in here at all. But anyways, after they do that, we cut back to Headphone Dude, and he's talking on a walkie-talkie, and there's some voice coming from the other side, but he asks, like, what does it mean? And the voice out of the other end says, it's time, Mickey. And then the voice goes on to say he was made for this, and this is what he's been waiting for his entire life. And then Mickey asks if they were the ones who took him, and the voice just says, do as you're told. Again, are these aliens? Is this in his fucking head? Unclear. Will it become clear by the end of the movie? You guys just have to stick around to find out. So I guess Mickey was an abductee. I'm just assuming that because he's like, are you guys the ones that took me? And then the alien shark thing. So I'm assuming he's a former alien abductee or something along those lines. So we go back to the house. Megan talks about crystals and how they should do a crystal summoning ceremony thing, I guess, to summon the dead. But they all decide against it. And then we just get a montage of the dudes and the ladies on the beach frolicking around. Alicia is then sitting on a chair just relaxing. And, of course, Pete comes and asks if she's going to go join them while they all frolic and dance around. And he says, well, I'll wait for you again. And then says, it's the beach. What's the worst that can happen? Well, we cut to Crazy Mickey walking along the beach using a flashlight sort of thing, but it's also a metal detector, or it's a detector of some sort, but it's also a walkie-talkie, even though he had a separate walkie-talkie earlier. I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's like they forgot the walkie-talkie on set that day, and they're like, this device does it. It's alien. It does everything. Looks like a fucking flashlight. But no, it's some alien detection device, I guess. God damn it. Our heroes are all relaxing on the beach together, and Debbie gets Pete to rub sunscreen on her back, and she makes orgasm noises while he's doing this. So I guess obviously she's jealous that Pete seems to be interested in Alicia, and so Debbie's like, well, I'm going to be a bitch about it. No one cares, Debbie. Nobody gives a shit. She's just so fucking unbearable. I could not stand to be around her for more than 5 minutes. The rest of these people, fine. I could probably get away with a day or two even, maybe. Like a work day, not like full 24 hours. But Debbie, no. Absolutely not. Just, oh God, just go away, Debbie, please. Later on, Alicia and Pete are walking down the beach together, and Mickey comes running up to them and says, he found it, and we have to stop them. What is he talking about? They ask if someone is trying to hurt him, and he's like, they're trying to hurt all of us. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. They're coming for us. Danger from the sky. Mickey, our doomsayer. So he talks into his flashlight or metal detector and asks them to talk to Pete and Alicia to tell them what's going on. And Mickey's like, I swear I can hear them, because there's no voice coming over the radio. He eventually leaves, and Alicia is pretty upset by this interaction, and she feels bad for the dude. So she sends Pete away, and then she walks away and starts like running after him. Back at Mickey's, he asks the voice on the radio why he didn't tell them, and the voice says, like, I don't think it would have helped you at all. I mean, it may have. They wouldn't have thought that he was talking into a fucking flashlight. Anyways, Mickey tells the voice he's been having dreams about sharks, and then Alicia comes in, and she knocks on the door and says she wanted to make sure he was okay and that he had somewhere to go. They introduce each other, and Mickey says he wasn't always like this, but since he was taken, this is how he ended up like this, and the aliens messed up his brain. He says it's his job to wait for them to tell him his purpose and why they abducted him, because they said he's special. Mickey's a special guy. That's why we abducted him, because he's a special little guy. He says the bad ones, referring to the aliens, come from a water planet. So they send out scouts and use mind control because their planet is getting too close to the sun. So I guess they need a planet with more water. And then he says they use a predator or host or something. And if the mothership finds out that Earth is 80% water, they're screwed. This ship has been in orbit for a while, at least a couple of days. Like, I think they know. I think they know the Earth is mostly water. All you really have to do is, like, look at it and be like, yeah, that's mostly water. Oh, my God. Nobody checked this script. Somebody wrote one draft of this and were like, yep, this is a movie. Oh, my God. What am I doing with my life? Mickey escorts Alicia out of his house, and she returns to the beach, and when she does, there is a young woman who's washed up on shore. She checks her pulse, and the girl's eyes open, and we see a flash of green from her eyes. And then she just starts heading for the water, and Alicia tries to stop her, but she won't listen. So Alicia just fucking knocks her out. The woman wakes up and speaks Spanish or something and asks, like, why her face hurts, and then she just walks away. Again, don't know what is happening. I guess from what Mickey told us, these water planet aliens are the bad ones, and they're using mind control to take over people's bodies or something? I don't know. I legitimately have no fucking idea. I can make guesses all day. Probably couldn't tell you what the fuck is happening right now. We get some stock footage of a shark that they put green eyes on. So it's literally just stock footage, and then they added little green eyes over top of its normal eyes. And that's it. So there's the shark, I guess. Like, yeah, it's not like we're almost halfway through this fucking movie and we finally get, like, some stock footage of a shark. But yeah, no, that's fucking cool. That's great. Wasting my fucking time, Jesus Christ. Megan, Debbie, Nate, and Jessica get ready to do some crystal calling ritual that she was talking about earlier. And we go to the shark, the stock footage again, and it can hear her muffled words as she's like chanting her ceremony or whatever. So they get into a circle around a pile of salt, and then Megan says her ritual. We go back to the shark, the stock footage. It's still hearing her muffled like voice. It starts getting windy. The salt and the crystal start glowing green, and everyone in the circle is like, "Nope, I'm out." Then on the beach, Alicia is walking along and she spots a shark in the sky that's transparent and kind of red. Like, it kind of looks like a model of a shark on a computer before you add, like, textures or anything like that, but without the grid, if that makes any sense. I don't know what this is. It's the only time we see this one. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Yeah, that's what we got so far. We're 40 fucking minutes in at this point, and we've had stock footage of a shark with green eyes and this floating but not moving red see-through shark. Yeah, that's cool. Alicia returns to the house, and Megan is passed out, and she wakes up and her eyes glow green for a second, but then she comes to and everyone helps her back inside the house. And Alicia takes Megan to her room, and she says when she passed out, she remembered seeing her and biting people. So she remembers seeing Alicia and then biting people. So I guess she has some sort of connection with these aliens or the alien sharks or whatever the fuck else is happening in this movie right now, because I have no fucking idea. I just don't know. Downstairs, Alicia tells them what Megan said. And Alicia said people have been acting weird. It's like something must be wrong. And they talk about what it could be, like alcohol poisoning or just something weird. And then Debbie says, oh, the salt water and the sand and sun can really, make people do some strange things. Oh, is that what it is, Debbie? It's the sun and the sand? Like, is that why you're being a bitch, Debbie? Because you've had too much sun and sand and water? Too much salt water? Oh my god. Where is the fucking shark? Where is the fucking shark? Getting heated. God damn it. Oh my god. Just give me a second here, people. Fuck this fucking goddamn fucking bullshit. Okay. I'm back. I'm good. We're all good. It's good. Everything's good. Are you good? I'm good. That's good. Megan comes down the stairs and she says that she's fine and she could really go for some drinks. And then her eyes glow green for a second. It seems like Alicia sees this but doesn't say anything. It doesn't really react. Kind of just like a little squint, and then that's it. And then Megan just goes and makes herself a drink. Then it's the next day. And we see Alien Shark in the water briefly, and it's just a terrible CGI shark. Not even the stock footage one. Really bad CGI. Now, granted, I'm typically okay with bad CGI. It's a lot of what I watch is bad CGI, so it's typically not a problem. My biggest problem right now, and I'm going to try and keep calm, is that we're like 45 or 50 fucking minutes into this movie. This movie's only an hour and 14 minutes long. That's it. It's not a long fucking movie. And that's including credits and everything. Just keep going. We're going to power through. So yeah, it's the next day. We saw the shark. We go back to the boat with the older couple, and they have some romantic conversation about wanting to like get engaged and get married or whatever, and I don't give two shits about, so I'm going to spare you guys the conversation. But after they talk, the boat is knocked, and then this old dude falls into the water, and we just see some blood. So we don't even see an attack, nothing. He's just kind of knocked into the water. It's kind of like Marina Monster, which is an older episode I did like last year, where basically the shark just nudges into docks and then people fall in. This is the same thing. Like, we haven't really seen an attack at all, But anyways, after we see the blood in the water, we just get some fucking stock footage of the shark with the green eyes again, and that's it. So we go back to Nate and Pete, And they talk about like how they're gonna try and hook up with girls and who they're gonna try and hook up with before the week is over. But Pete's like, "Oh, I'm not really interested in anyone," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "I'm especially not going after Debbie," even though he came here because she invited him because he was sad. Whatever, fuck all of you. Then they compare themselves to Sex and the City characters. So it's just a dumb conversation. But immediately following this scene, they just fucking cut. And we get the scene that made me want to watch this movie to begin with, which happens 48 fucking minutes in. But I digress. This giant CGI shark comes up to the beach, opens up its mouth, and then this dog shark thing comes walking out of it. And then we're just done with that for now. We just see this thing running out of its mouth. Again, all terrible CGI. And then we go back to the house. I don't know who, like, cut this movie. I don't know who wrote this movie. I certainly know who directed it. I said that at the beginning, but what the fuck? Like, what? I'm just left saying what? Oh god. We go back to the house, and in the living room, half the people are passed out. Alicia and Pete talk a bit, and Megan then looks at Alicia and says, "Your body is better than this one." Okay. She's like, "I want yours." And then some demonic voice comes out of her, and she passes out. So Pete and Alicia carry her to her room. So, like, we're not going to address the fact that she just spoke in a very demonic tone that she never speaks in. We're just going to brush over that. Also, I just remembered Alicia totally brushed over and didn't mention to anyone the giant red shark she saw in the sky earlier. She hasn't mentioned that at all to anybody. I don't know. They go to leave her in her room, and I'm going to be honest, I tuned out a little bit here. But I remember Pete saying, sometimes the best parties are the ones that you don't remember. And then him and Alicia go in to kiss. That's your line? Well, you know, sometimes the best parties are the ones you don't remember. What? Fucking what? Oh my god. Their kiss is interrupted because the power starts going out. This fucking dog waltzes into the house and starts going after Nate, but Alicia comes down and whacks it with a fucking broom and knocks the dog shark thing over. And again, the whole time, just awful CGI. And then they all stand around it and try to figure out what it is. Like, oh, it's like a capybara, it's a guinea pig, or it's a dog with scurvy. Or I think they may say that later on, but literally one of the lines at some point is like, oh yeah, it's like a dog with scurvy. I don't even know. I don't even fucking know anymore. After this, we see some giant green beam being shot into space, and then some fireballs start crashing into the ocean and beach. Alicia starts taking control because she's the military babe, so she knows what she's doing, but the rest of the girls aren't really taking it very seriously. And they're like, you're probably just overreacting. Jessica is like, nah, we're fine, and just leaves for a walk with some boy that she brought with her. Earlier, she brought in some guy. I don't even know if I mentioned it. Not important. Doesn't really fucking matter, to be honest. But yeah, she goes for a walk with the boy toy she invited, and they start frolicking on the beach, and he goes to the water for a second. He turns around, his nose starts bleeding, and then this fucking shark just comes up behind him, this giant CGI shark, and then it cuts to her reaction, and then it cuts back, and he's just gone. And then her eyes flash green, and then she starts walking into the water. I don't know what is happening. I don't know what the fucking rules are of this shark, alien, demon. I don't know. I don't know what any of this is. I have no idea. Back at the house, Megan is sleeping and having dreams about all of the victims that have died and the spaceship. So again, she's having some sort of connection because of the crystal ceremony. Oh my god. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, man. This is a tough one, guys. And now it's the next day, I guess. Alicia tells Nate Jessica never came home last night, and he's like, everything's gonna be fine. And then he just walks away. And then we're just done with that. So we go back with Mickey. The voice on the radio tells him it's time, and he's not the savior, and the end is coming, and Mickey needs to be brave. So the voice tells him to take the object. So this seashell corkscrew thing that he found with his metal detector, flashlight, walkie-talkie, 3-in-1 fucking shampoo thing that he had, doesn't say where to take it or elaborate on any of the details like that. So that's all we know so far. We go to Nate, and he's drinking on the dock. When we cut back to him, he's gone, and there's blood in the water. Again, no attack, nothing. It's just he was sitting by the water, drinking. They cut away to something else. Who gives a fuck? We cut back, and there's some blood in the water, which was a little hard to tell because there was a lot of, like, orange colors coming from the sun and whatnot, so the red was a little hard to spot at first. The girls and Pete sit around the table, and Megan tells everyone about her dreams and how she can't stop thinking about Alicia's body. Oh, where is this movie going now? Oh. And then her voice goes demonic. Oh, okay, never mind. And she starts hitting and kicking everyone, and she chokes Debbie and lifts her up, looks into the sun where a shark comes, and Megan looks back at Debbie, snaps her neck. She says she doesn't feel so good and passes out. I just think about everything that happened there for a second. We had a sun shark apparently possessed Crystal Girl. I fucking hell, man. Oh my god. This is a mess. This movie is an absolute mess so far. God damn it. Alicia ties Megan up and says they need to call military reinforcements because this is way too much for the local police. And then Pete asks what the floating shark was, and Alicia says it was a spirit, of course. Like, isn't that obvious, Pete? Nothing in this movie is very obvious except for how fucking stupid all of you are. But Megan chimes in and says it's not a spirit, it's an alien. And then she asks why she's tied up. So when she has these trances or connection to the aliens or whatever, I guess she has no memory of what she just did and what just happened. Why? I don't really know. I guess they're suggesting that crystals actually work. So if you want to do some cool shit, go buy some see-through rocks and everything will be fine. You can do some really neat things. Alicia then says to Pete, I think I have an idea. She leans in to whisper in Megan's ear, and I couldn't really hear it, I think she says feed, and then Megan turns demonic, and Pete says she's not possessed, she's a conduit. So maybe the ritual made her a conduit to the spirits or the aliens or something. And then Alicia says it's an alien shark, and then Pete says alien shark like 3 times. That's the name of the movie. Megan, now possessed or whatever, tells Alicia they're coming to destroy everything or something. I don't fucking know. Then Alicia starts getting a headache and her eyes start glowing green and she attacks Pete. Megan walks towards the water. Mickey comes running up to Alicia and he puts the corkscrew seashell up to her forehead, which gets rid of the demon alien possession connection. I don't know. He then tells her to attach it to a spear and kill it. The voice comes on the radio and tells Mickey it's time. And Mickey says they brought him back to help them, but now he has to go away, and he's beamed away. Fucking bonkers. Just absolutely insane. Alicia attaches the shell to a crossbow, and she tells Pete this will kill it, but she doesn't know how she knows this. She just knows. But, like, Mickey just told you. He just told you to do this, and now you're like, this will work. I don't know why. I just know this. Are they trying to imply that they don't remember having this interaction with Mickey? Or I don't know. Alicia tells Pete she's going to give them the biggest fight on Earth they've ever seen, and he's going to help her. They walk out to the water, and Alicia calls for the shark like she's Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And she's like, "What are you waiting for? I'm right here." So the shark comes close and starts flailing around, and Alicia shoots it with the crossbow, which I assumed the shell was attached to. I assumed wrong. And then she starts slashing it with a knife, and the shark disappears even though she's still like slashing away. I legit think they may have run out of money and could not put the rest of the CGI shark in because it looks like she's fighting with nothing. The shark is fucking huge, so it can't even be like under the water at her ankles, but she's still slashing away. And then something smacks her down as she holds the shell still, and then she gets up, holds the shell to the sky, and a green beam emits from it and shoots into the sky. We see the spaceship, but nothing really happens. Then we just cut to Alicia passed out on the beach, and Pete tells her she did it, she did it. Did what? What did she do? And then we hear a beeping noise, and she says there has to be something else, and she goes into Mickey's bag, I'm assuming. She pulls out what looks like a pipe bomb, and she says, "I know what this is. I know what this is." And Pete says, "I don't." So I assumed, okay, maybe this isn't a pipe bomb. This is just something else, like some other dumb prop they're using. But no, it's a pipe bomb. Pete's dumb. Alicia then says, "We need to blow it up." So she runs down the beach. She finds this thing making the beeping noises, which is like some sort of, I don't even know. It's just some sort of like square box device, alien looking, that beeps. So she throws the pipe bomb at it, explodes. The spaceship is struck with a green beam for reasons and explodes. Pete and Alicia sit in the sunset as the radio plays. We suddenly cut back to Mickey's house, and we hear his voice on the radio asking for help. We cut to a beach shot that just fucking lingers forever, and then we roll credits. This has to be one of the dumbest movies I have ever watched for this podcast. Hands down. I'm putting this movie up there with 90210 Shark Attack and Psycho Shark, aka Jaws in Japan. Like, there's so many questions and no answers. The ending especially feels like somebody fucked up the editing. I kind of feel like when she lifts the seashell into the sky with the green beam, that's when the ship should have exploded, and then this satellite thingy could have been a secondary thing that they just explode, or just not do it at all. There's that too. I guess, technically speaking, we got the poster. There was a giant shark with green eyes, bikini babes, a crossbow. But I mean, god damn, it was so stupid. It was so unnecessary. Everything in this movie was so unnecessary. The movie itself was unnecessary. We barely get any shark action. And when we do, the attacks aren't even funny in any way, shape, or form. They're just really dull and quick. And not even dull and quick like The Asylum. Like, even The Asylum tries to make them somewhat interesting. But what really got me was the cinematography, besides the shitty CGI and, like, mixed in stock footage, the cinematography wasn't terrible. So it feels like there were people on this crew that knew what they were doing, but they had this god-awful script, and nobody did anything to fix it. Like, nothing. I would be surprised if this went more than 2 drafts. I think even 2 drafts is being way too generous. There's absolutely no way this is a multi-draft script because there's so many fucking plot holes. There's so much nonsense that if anybody wrote more than 1 draft of this script, they should be fucking ashamed of themselves and probably quit screenwriting. Oh my god. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm getting heated. It's getting heated in here, guys. Yeah, I kind of think I'm just fucking done with this movie. I'm giving it half a star on Letterboxd. There's no way I will ever watch this movie again for like my own pleasure. A lot of the movies I watch, I will throw on maybe in the background while I'm doing something, or if I'm like feeling really like silly or something, you know. But I can see no reason for me to ever rewatch this in the future unless it's for another podcast or something like that. Because fuck me. God damn. So that was Alien Shark from 2022. Please don't watch it. Watch like the clip of the dog coming out of the shark's mouth. That's all you need to see from this movie. So thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/bucket of chum. You can follow me on all of the social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher, all at Bucket of Chum Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you could leave a little like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And go to bucketofchumpodcast.com for more news and updates. And I will see you guys next time for an all-new episode of Bucket of Chum.